Alright, welcome back friends. Welcome back to DCT Lab, and for obvious reasons I am Mr. DCT. Okay, in today's video we are going to be tackling our next question, which is exercise 3. In our previous video we answered exercise 2, which was to write an algorithm that allows the user to enter two numbers and display their product. And here is it here, the algorithm, and here is the C code that we later on converted it like into a programming language. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be tackling exercise 3, which says write an algorithm that exchanges the values of two integers a and b entered by the user, then displays them after swapping. Okay, so without any further ado, let me open my terminal. Again, I'll be using my terminal to create my files and folders, because it's, in fact, using the command line interface is really fast and swift for me. So I'm just going to close this exercise 2, and I'll create a new folder. So make directory, I'm going to call it exercise 3. Right, as you can see here in my sublime text, you can see that exercise 2 folder has been created. Let me enter inside the exercise 3 I mean. So exercise 3. Now I want to create now a C file. So it's going to be exercise 3.c. okay, now in here you can see that exercise 3 has been created. Here I'm going to write the pseudocode and the C program. Okay, let me open back a PDF. Okay, so to begin, let me first of all comment this out. So the title is going to be exercise 3, which is to, let me say, swap two numbers, right? I can maybe put this into capital letters. Okay, so to begin, I'll first of all say start, which is the way you begin all algorithms. You can put start or maybe write begin. Okay, so the first is to declare variables, the variables I'm going to use. So declare a, comma b, comma and temp. So I'm going to use this variable and I'll use them as integers, so as integers. Okay, so variable a is going to store the value, the first value. B is going to store the second value. Then temp now is going to be my temporary variable that I'm going to use for the swapping. Okay, so you understand later on as we move on. So after that, I need to read maybe say display. I can say enter, let me say value 1, like value a. I think that will be better. Enter value a. Okay, now since it's pseudocode, you don't need to write or put semicolon at the end. So now to read the value, I will say read a. Okay, since to do that for the next value, I'll just copy and paste to save time. So for b, it will be the same, except here I'll put insert b, and down here I'll put b again. Now here comes the logic. So what's the logic that we are going to use to swap? Well, I'm going to set temp, right? I'm going to assign it to, so I'm going to assign a to temp, and I'll assign b to a. Don't worry, I'll explain later on. So b to a, then now b back to them. I know that some of you guys are like, Mr. DCT, like what I did here. Okay, so let me just explain. So imagine, let me say, assume a is equals to, let me say 3, and that b is equals to, let me say 5. Now let me explain now the logic that goes here. So it's like this. So let me comment this out. So I set temp, right, equals to a, and what's the value of a? We assume that a is 3, right? So if I set temp equals to 3, Now down here we say a equals to b. That means a now is equals to b, which is 5. So we know that b is 5, so a becomes 5. This is the first swap. Now let's do now b now equals to 10, so b is equals to 10, and what is 10 up here? 10 is 3, so b becomes 3. And if you look very well, the swapping has been done already. So a, which was originally 3, has become 5, and b, which was originally 5, has become 3. So that's it, that's the logic. Okay, so after doing that, I may maybe say display I can say after swapping, after swapping. Okay, so I cannot say now after swapping I cannot display now a and display b. Display a, right, and I also say display b. So what will appear now, you see that a will be different, will take the value of b, and b will take the value of a. So I can now say now n, or I can put stop depending on you. So I can now end here. So that's it for the pseudocode or the algorithm. Now how do you convert this into a programming language like C? Okay, let's see. So we first of all include our library stdio.h. now int main. Now in my main function I need to declare my variables, which is going to be integer, so int a, comma b, comma, and my temp variable, and end with semicolon. Now I need to read like enter value a. So I will say printf display. To write display in C, just write printf. Now inside the brackets you put double quotes. You can now say enter value of a, right? Now semicolon, always end your program in C with semicolon. Now scan f, I can now say percentage d, since it's an integer, comma ampersand a, end with semicolon. Now since it's the same, I'll just copy and paste to save time for b. So this for b. Inside here I'm going to put b, and here I'm going to put b. Now what's the next thing? I need to do now the swapping. So after I read the value a and b, I need to do the swapping. That's where the logic comes in. So I can just comment this out and we say logic. So the logic is that my variable temp is going to be equals to a semicolon, and my value a is going to be b semicolon, and my value b is going to be temp. As simple as that. I hope you guys already understood the logic when I explain it over here in the pseudocode. Okay, now I need to display now. Let me say printf after swapping. So after swapping, I will say printf percentage d, which is going to be for a, then put /n for next line, then a semicolon. Now I'll just copy and paste to save time. Ctrl C. Now that will be for b, this one. So we're going to be b here. Okay, and after that I'm just going to say return 0. Okay, I hope that's all and there are no errors. Let me compile and run my program. Okay, it compiles successfully. You can see there is this executable and it's in binary. So for me to run it, I'll open my terminal Okay, so if I say ls, you see that there's an executable in green, exercise 3. So it's different from this, the exercise 3 with the C extension. Okay, so to run it, I'll just put ./exercise 3. Okay, so I'm using my terminal to run the output, so don't mind, it's still the same thing. You can use your IDE, anyone, maybe code blocks or dev C++, any one of your choice, or C or VS Code. So I'll say it says enter value of A, so I'll put value of A as 5. Let me use the same example that we had here. So for example, A is 3, so I'll put A as 3, B as 5. Now after swapping, okay, we say now the output is not really good because I need to say A equals to %d, and here I'm going to say B equals to %d. Now let me put also /n here for good formatting, so that will take me to the next line. Okay, let me compile again. Let me clear my screen and rerun the program. So enter value of A was 3, B was 5. Now you see that after swapping, A instead of 3 is now 5, and B instead of 5 is now 3. So that was it for exercise 3, and stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be exercise 4. Yes, exercise 4. So stay tuned and see you next time. Peace.